It's the best of both worlds for me here because I get to work in a museum, but I also get to work on a university campus. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the director of the Kent State University Museum, and I am a proud member of the Ohio Bar. It was really an internship or an educational experience at the Metropolitan Museum of Art that started me on my pathway, and it led to a high school internship at the Met, and then I worked at the Met all throughout college. I was an undergraduate student at Johns Hopkins University, where I chose to study art history and French literature with a minor in German. And there was particular attention at this time to art that had been looted or stolen from victims during the Second World War and the Holocaust. And so as a young college student at the time at the Met, it was my job to start researching collection histories of these objects. And what I realized was, as much as I love the objects and I love museums, the stories behind them captured my interest, and their journeys captured my interest from a historical standpoint, from a legal standpoint. And so I really dove into that subject as an intern. And so I ended up then at the time pursuing a master's degree at the same time as my undergraduate education in the humanities, but with a focus on art restitution. So I decided to do both a law degree and a PhD. I was very lucky to be accepted into with a scholarship to Yale Law School, and at the same time work towards a PhD in modern European history. So I was definitely on a very different pathway than most law students and most lawyers. I went to the standard summer career fair, and there was actually an employer from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, and I was sharing my kind of unique pathway, and they showed extraordinary interest in it because they were actually working on a case about a painting that had been looted during the war, an Egon Schiele painting called Portrait of Wally that had been seized in violation of the National Stolen Property Act. So as I was describing kind of my own interests in the law and my own kind of joint degree studies, which I thought might not be the greatest fit for some of these internships, they were actually really excited to learn that those were my interests, that I had kind of the language backgrounds to be able to do this kind of research. And so I was lucky enough to get the position with the U.S. Attorney's Office to work on this really high-profile case about a looted painting. I feel extraordinarily fortunate to have landed here at the museum. But when you truly love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And so I love coming here to the museum every day. I love working with the students. I love working with the museum team. And I love all the kind of incredible organizations that I have the opportunity to work with. So many of the opportunities that I've had have come from simply saying yes to something without necessarily knowing how it might play out. What I would tell current law students and current students is really to be open to exploration, to be open to opportunities. My first summer, I worked at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. My second summer, I worked for a law firm. My third summer, I think I did research. And I really encouraged that sense of curiosity and exploration for law students. So it's extremely important to me to maintain my law license and really to maintain my membership in the Ohio Bar Association, especially because I'm not in a traditional setting. So it becomes especially important for me to maintain those relationships and to maintain that license.